What is up, everybody? I got a match here. I go 23-3, so it was actually a pretty crazy gameplay for myself. I'm playing with my friend Reed, the RCK, who changed his name to Codeine Freeze Pop or something like that. I have no idea what that means. Really weird name. And for this particular video, I wanted to talk about loadouts. Not so much what I think about loadouts, as much as I want to talk what I actually like to rock up at this point. So the only three weapons I actually use are the Nasher, Lancer, and Marksa, and in that exact order. I think I use the Nasher like literally 85% of the time, Lancer 10% of the time, Marksa 5%, and that's reflected in the gameplays I've been posting so far. I tried to use the Lancer this particular match, but you're going to see I inevitably end up using the shotgun a little bit, just because I find when you get power weapons and whatnot, it's just easier to have a shotgun on you because you need I traditionally like to have one close range weapon and then one a weapon for distance, which is why I really miss the regular loadouts. I really hope, on a side note, that they add a playlist with two loadouts just to see how it would play out, although I think that the Marks and the shotgun paired together might prove to be a little bit too much, but I don't know. I guess we'll have to see in the future. So like I said, my first choice is obviously the shotgun. Most maps in this game are really shotgun oriented, I find, especially Library and Gondola, since it's just such a tight map and you can move around so well. And I think in the gear statistics they released, shotgun is the most prominent weapon by far. Obviously no surprise there, but it's not necessarily that the shotguns are better, but just that people actually like to use the shotguns. I know I do. One of the reasons I do is because I literally hate when people get in my face and I have nothing to fight back with, which is why I choose shotgun. And I'm only to blame if they get in my face and I don't have a shotgun, but that's besides the point. An easy way to avoid that is just to have a shotgun yourself, and the gameplay that comes with shotgunning is pretty addictive in itself, which is why I find myself using it. It allows for great mobility, and it's the #1 choice for most Gears people, especially on tighter maps. And then I'm trying to think, one of my other friends said that they like the shotgun because they already have a pistol and they kind of use that for distance. Although it's not as good as the rifles, it kind of fits that role, but like I said, just not as well, but that's also something to consider. In this particular game, I'm using a Lancer, and that would be my favorite of the three rifles, and I guess it's important to mention at this point, the Lancer Nasher is traditionally the competitive weapon loadouts. Although I'm not playing competitive yet, I plan on playing competitive for this game, so it's important to get proficient with those weapons in my eyes. So my time, a large part of my time is dedicated to those two weapons in the game, although right now a lot more of it's going to the shotgun. The Lancer, I find, and I think the Hammer Burst is good too, although it's more tricky to use, but I find the Lancer is really good for maps like Rig. I'm trying to think of other maps, even Streets, because there's some wide open areas that you can really help support your team from, and the rifles are really strong too. They are not to be messed around with or underestimated. I think this particular match, the rifles are actually buffed, but they removed the buff, which is really good, and I'm happy that they reverted it. They're listening to the community, which is nice to know. I'm not sure why you can melee with the Lancer. I think that might be a little out of place since you can actually chainsaw, and I would tweak that just kind of as a balance issue, although it's not really a big deal. For the Marksa, I guess it would kind of fill the same role for me as the Lancer would, and I don't find myself using the Marksa often because it calls for conservative gameplay, really good accuracy, and those are two things that I'm not always too prone on. I thought that the Marksa was going to be my Bull Talk. It's actually the Breach Shot that is turning out to be my Bull Talk, and although I think the Marksa is okay, and as a starting weapon it can be really good for combating snipers and supporting your friends, but that's just not something I want to play to. Well, I don't put much time towards, just because it's not my style of play. In this game anyway. I don't think Marksa would be used for competitive anyway, but I guess that's all I really have to say about the Marksa, and I want to just kind of move back to the rifles in a sec, because a little bit earlier on you saw that I had a Lancer and a Nasher. A lot of people don't use rifles, so if you are playing TDM and you actually start with a rifle and you manage to kill a person with a shotgun, that gives you two weapon loadouts, or two weapons, so you have a traditional rifle shotgun loadout, and that is really effective because you can play all the different types of roles and you can defend yourself better. When people are running at you, you can use your rifle to soften them up, and then when they're near you, you can just quickly change weapons and finish them off with a shotgun. I find this to be really effective. Now, I use rifles more so in TDM because it's easier to find a weapon on the ground since there's so many deaths and so many people dying constantly. But in a game type like Execution, which I've been playing a lot of, and I'm going to have to post some on my channel, it's harder to find pickup weapons from other people because you die once and that's it, and whoever dies probably collects the other person's weapon, and the odds are that you're not always going to find a weapon, and when you have one life you have to play it in a very specific manner. And I love Execution, but you do not want to be caught with a Lancer when you're outnumbered in Execution, because you're just going to be running and it's going to be frustrating for you. Now, as far as the grenades go, I'll just flat out say I avoid the stim grenades because I don't like the gameplay it promotes. I think they're kind of cheap. I know they got nerfed a bit, but I still think they're kind of ridiculous, so I don't particularly like using them. I've been using the smoke grenades a lot now for two reasons, with all of my loadouts really. The first being that is one of the grenades you can choose from for Execution. And the second would be that, well, I do like it, I will say that. The second would be a tutorial I saw from a guy named Rijmeister. I know he watches my videos, sorry if I pronounce your name wrong. I'll have to link his tutorial because it was really well done, and it just shows how effective this smoke is. And it can be really good for shotgun users. But I think they recently actually changed the smoke grenade from a 2-second stun period to a 0.3 seconds, which is actually pretty significant. So now the smoke will give you a little bit of stun, but a nice smoke screen, so I don't think it's as particularly effective. I might have to switch to spot grenades since they are the other option in Execution, and you get two, and that can be really good as a supporting weapon. Frags was the traditional choice for me in TDM because it is a lethal grenade, and it comes in handy for finishing off people. I like the ink too, but I find that the area it covers is not that great. But if you put it on top of weapons, it can set you up for easy kills. But right now I'm still rocking the smoke almost exclusively. Those are my weapons. I think this commentary is actually coming to an end now, so if you liked the video, that's great. If you didn't, I'm sorry. Please leave me your loadouts and what you guys think of them so far, and that's about it for this video. Peace.